Mia Conde-Barch, President and CEO of Focus St. Louis, and it is great to see all the cool people in St. Louis in this virtual space right now. I'd like to take a moment and just have our panelists and also the team introduce themselves to you. So we will start with the team. Someone had asked who is our resident leadership DJ, and it is none other than Kate H. I'll call her that because that is such a good moniker. So Kate, take it away. Introduce yourself to the folks that are in our virtual conference room today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very new to the Focus team, so I'm learning the ropes and enjoying myself, adding my own musical spin many times. I'm the program coordinator supporting Youth Leadership St. Louis, Leadership St. Louis, which is what this program is about today, and also Women in Leadership.
All right. Thank you, Kate. And Wally, if you can turn on your cameras so we can bring you into the room and have you introduce yourself as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. Wally Seward. I'm the Director of Civic Engagement and the Emerging Leaders now for Focus St. Louis, and also get to co-host for Leadership St. Louis. I see a couple of familiar faces in the room. Good to see you all. I assume you're all smiling, so good to see your smiling faces, and glad to have you here this afternoon.
Right. Thank you very much, Wally. I'm going to hold off on introducing our alums that are going to be talking about their current experience in the program as well as previous experience. And I'm hoping you guys can share what your class tagline is. You've all probably heard best class ever. We've had a couple of others out there, so I'd be curious and want you to share that. But before we advance into having them introduce themselves, I think it'll be great for you just to get a sense of what Focus is all about by viewing our video. So Kate, if I can ask you to cue up our video before we dive into more stuff about Focus, that'll be great.
Can you hear that?
At Focus St. Louis, we believe that so many people desire change, but they need the inspiration, they need the knowledge, and they need the network to be able to take action. Focus St. Louis has provided civic education for leaders in our region to inspire individuals to action.
And I've been working with the Leadership St. Louis and Focus St. Louis and the predecessor organization Confluence St. Louis, actually from their beginnings in 1976 all the way to the present in 2018. What Leadership St. Louis does is make St. Louis a better place, is to teach people how to collaborate, to give them the opportunity to learn from each other, not to make them all alike, but so everybody understands where everybody else is coming from.
We approach community formation among the participants with intentionality.
We educate students, young professionals, and civic and business leaders about the strengths and the challenges and opportunities of our region.
I was looking for a way to contribute, to be more involved with the community that I live in, and this was an incredible way to become involved.
I think Focus St. Louis has a pretty robust network, pretty extensive alumni, so that alone kind of convinced me in terms of they act as kind of a hub for connecting individuals to both for-profit and nonprofit.
Hundreds of people have gone through the program over the years in which it's been in existence, and so they become a part of that network.
I'm from St. Louis, born and raised. You know, I believe very much in the city, and I want folks to know that there's actually really great things going on here, and organizations like Focus St. Louis that highlight and promote and support and encourage those sorts of things. I welcome the opportunity to be a part of that.
You know, collaboration is messy. It takes a lot more time. But I think in the end, you end up with a much better result. And part of that process is people learning to trust one another. And I think that makes a lasting impact for our region.
If you are contemplating joining a focus group, applying for a program, that means there's something in you that should just do it.
None of our work would be possible if people in the region stopped showing up. Their commitment to collaboration, innovation, equity, community, and action mirrors the values that we strive to extend through all of our focus programs.
They taught me what it's like to be a police chief, what it's like to be a nonprofit executive officer, what it's like to be a city manager, what it's like to be a corporate VP of a stockholder-owned utility. All of those roles I understand much better because I've watched and learned from the people who occupy them.
It's teachable moments that help us understand what it's like to live in a different socioeconomic background or with a different skin color. And I think that is where the change is going to happen, is where we are willing to change policies and practices and really make things more equitable for all.
Right, thank you for that. And now I am going to go over some important things that you need to know about the program as you begin to consider applying. So if I can just roll through the PowerPoint that we had prepared, and if you would like a copy of this PowerPoint, we can certainly share that later. And if you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the chat. I'll pick them up. If you're curious about anyone else who is attending, you can easily just go under attendee tab to see your fellow attendees in there. But with that said, I'm going to dive into a little bit more about the program to talk about what the general characteristics of individuals that have applied for the program throughout the course of the 25 somewhat years that this has been part of Focus. So let's dive in. If I can ask Kate to advance to the next slide on there. Some things that I'll go over, keep on advancing. One more. Okay, so Leadership St. Louis was a program that was started in 1976. As Dr. Terry Jones alluded to in the video, we have a collective history of over 50 plus years, because at one point in time, there were two separate nonprofits, Confluence St. Louis and Leadership St. Louis. But about 25 and a half years ago, they became one unit. And since then, we've gone on to add other programs that were featured there in the video. When we look at what the typical characteristics of individuals that apply for this program are, they generally tend to be, I would say, C-suite executives or senior level executives in a variety of sectors. And basically, through the course of 9 months in the program, we help develop their understanding of the St. Louis region. I'd advance and say that one of the key things about this program is it is an opportunity for an art of inquiry. It's an opportunity for you as a leader to come with your own questions. If you want to deepen your knowledge about any one series of relevant issues in the region, you come armed to participate, you come armed with your questions. And our seminars are very immersive and experiential in nature. And I'm sure some of you are probably curious as to how can you do experiential within a pandemic moment? I have to say, I have an incredible creative team. We put our heads together, we innovate and we pivot, and we do what is a blended model of sometimes we meet in person, keeping in mind whatever CDC or city, state, and St. Louis County COVID restrictions are, or what we need to make sure that people feel comfortable enough to meet in person. And then the others we take to our virtual campus. So you're actually on our virtual campus here. In instances where we actually cannot go out and meet with the different nonprofits or even corporate, we do experiential immersive tours. And we're actually planning for both a blended model in the fall, given what may happen over the next couple of months. But the program is 9 months. We meet 1 or 2 full days during September through May. And we always encourage participants to get together outside of the class time. Kate, could you advance the next PowerPoint? So who should apply? These are seasoned professionals who have had significant roles in the community or in their companies and desire not just to understand the community, but to have a strong sense of personal leadership. If you are not clear about the type of leader that you are when you come into the program, I guarantee that by the end of the program, you'll have clarity, but it's just not us. You have to put skin in the game, and skin in the game is not just being there, but also engaging with your fellow classmates, getting to know them, hearing their perspective about the program. You also have to have an aspiration to work collaboratively. You know, there's a term that I use, I call it collaboration. We can even stretch that forward and say the work that many of the people in the program end up doing, even while they're going through the program, is around collective impact. Now that I have these individuals where we have shared passion along the lines of a particular issue, what can we do together? And how can you bring not just your own experience, but your own knowledge within your organization, within your respective community to that dialogue? And we always lean into our participants to be committed to attending all the program days, because if you're not there, your perspective is not heard. And when we don't have the full perspective in the room, it can impact your ability to engage and to fully learn. Can I get you to advance to the next? Yes, thank you for that. So here's the draft program schedule for the year. The program kicks off in September with an opening retreat. And you have the number of times, and the sessions generally are from 8 to about 4:30. If we're able to meet in person, there's always reflection hour, and the reflection hour gives you an opportunity to get to do deeper dives around some of the conversations that have been happening in the class during the session day. And the way in which we've been doing that right now has been virtually. We let participants call for it. So my team and I are always on at the end of our session day, and we say, you know what, go grab a snack, go grab whatever you feel you need to have to continue that conversation to deepen those relationships. So keep in mind what the program schedule, what the program agenda is with respect to the program. Can I get you to advance to the next slide, please? So if you're thinking, what is the benefit to me as a result of going through this program? And on the next slide, we itemize what some of the benefits have been to program participants. Certainly a deeper understanding of the St. Louis region and the surrounding counties in the region, including Illinois, St. Charles, you name it, Jefferson County, and what have you. But your knowledge can only be as deepened as the questions that you bring to the table. So we listen to our program participants as they are completing the application, what their expectations are with respect to what they want to gain out of the program. But once the program starts, the onus is on you in bringing your conversation, your questions forward to make them deeper so that you can learn more. So we have a baseline, but we need engagement and involvement for you to make it happen. Throughout the course of the program, you will get unparalleled, and I cannot repeat that enough, exposure to influential civic, business, and community leaders. And we say influential, I mean influential. To you, depends on how you define it. But at the same token, we are always listening to make sure that we have a diverse group of individuals that are at the table, that are driving the agenda, and can invite you to the table as well. And from time to time, we've had participants in the program that have invited themselves to the table. And I have no problem with that whatsoever. That is what you are there to do. And you'll hear from some of them in a little bit. You know, Kim Norton is always inviting herself to the table. Jennifer Bardot is probably going to share with you this new position that she got. And I tell people the program, the position that you enter the program with is not probably the one that you will close out the program with. And they're like, Yami, what do you know? Have you been talking to my boss? And I was like, no, I just know that that's what happens as a result of the program. And Jason, I love your new title, you know, Mr. President, you know, kudos to you, the fantastic work that you continue to do in the community. And we'll hear about that momentarily. Another thing that you learn is the toolkit with which to experience and lead difficult conversation. We go through a number of different issues that we, as best as we can, give you as deep as we can, a deep dive on the issues, understanding that people are coming at these issues at varying degrees of expertise. We might have folks that are experts on it. They know everything, or better yet, they think they know everything. And if they only listen, they might learn more based on the inquiry that I talked about earlier. As a result of this, I mentioned earlier, collective impact, collaboration, commitment, decision-making, strategic thinking, innovation are all those things that as a result of going through the program, the network that you'll be able to walk into several different rooms and feel like, you know what? I'm not a stranger because I know someone who has gone through a focus program. You know, at the end of the day, we have a diverse network of people. We specifically select the class to make sure that we have that diversity that is embodied in the class. And we hope that people, as a result of going through the program, will have a renewed, or now they have an excited sense of personal commitment and purpose and responsibility in terms of what they can do in the program. Can I get you to advance to the next PowerPoint there? We offer tuition and scholarships. People always want to know that. We always hold off until you've been admitted to the program before we send out that information. You can get more information on this on our website, but here's just some information about tuition 5,000. Majority of the times, not always, the tuition is covered by people's respective organizations because they see value in the work that Focus does while people are going through the program. Next slide, please. Important dates to keep in mind. Application deadline is about 6 weeks or so away for the next cohort. That should actually read 22-23. The selection day interview, we've been doing that virtually and it's worked well for everyone. And these are interviews. I don't select the class. Our alums select the class. They make recommendations. And so that is how our selection process goes. So make sure you answer all those questions in the application process. Make sure you get your references to submit the references on time. We'll follow up, but the onus is on you is to make sure that we get that information. Mid-May or early May, actually, we'll announce the folks that have been invited to the class. And end of May, there's a program contract that we want you to sign just to further show your commitment. But those are just some of the essential parts of what you need to know about Focus St. Louis. So with that said, I'd like for us to hear from our alums, and joining us today is Dr. Kim Norton, Jason Fraser, and Jennifer Bardot. Dr. Kim Norton and Jason Fraser are both graduates of the best class. And Jennifer, you're about to become the graduate of the best class ever, but we thought we would mix it up and bring folks that have been through the program, folks that are going through the program, just to, one, introduce themselves and tell us about their experience. So Dr. Norton, if you can unmute, we will start with you. Welcome.
Hi, it's actually Dr. Morton. I know you know me.
Yes.
It's with the M. I won't even say we're the best class because it's a known fact. We're OG 44. you can guess what OG means. It could be the original gangsters. But it was so great to be in that class. We were right before the pandemic. So we actually, we did everything in person until I think the last session. And it's been a great community. We are still together. We have this group me, we go back and forth. We celebrate each other, we support one another. And what I will say about, I'm just introducing myself, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to talk?
Yeah,
okay.
Please do.
Oh, okay. So I work at Washington University in St. Louis, where I am the director of TRIO Student Support Services, where we serve first-generation students, low-income students, and students with disabilities. And I want to talk about my experience. So I was in Coro Women in Leadership first, and then I went to Leadership St. Louis. And so Leadership St. Louis was really diverse. We had a great class. We were able to learn about all facets of St. Louis. If you're new to St. Louis or you're just sort of re-engaging with the region, it's a great way to learn about government, in the region, learning about local issues that we have in the region. And for me, it gave me an invigorated spirit to want to be engaged in my local government. And so I'm the chair of the oh God, why am I blanking? But anyway, I'll come back to that. So I'm running for city council for Jennings. I live in Jennings. And so I'm really excited about that. But I'm the chair of the Planning and Architectural Board. I couldn't think of the word Planning Commission. And so it's really great. Being an LSL made me realize how I need to be more entrenched in my community and really educate my neighbors on how they have the power, right? Because I think that sometimes your neighborhood or your community folks complain about things, but if you're not involved in the community, nothing will get done. And so I think it helped me to re-engage with my local community, and I'm better for it. But as far as the region, it made me feel like, okay, we can make incremental changes one step at a time and become a better region, a better St. Louis region. I really enjoyed being able to not only go to St. Louis City and St. Louis County, but go out to St. Charles and really learn about St. Charles. I had a couple of years stint in St. Charles County as a young kid, and so it was really interesting to learn about what they do in St. Charles and how they relate to the community. And so while that session was really interesting with our class, I felt like it was really something for us to be fired up about, right, and to get more engaged. And so I really enjoy LSL just because of not only the network, but really figuring out where you fit in your community, right? Where should you be going to figure out how to make your community better? You should be going to the city council meetings and the ward meetings, and just really figuring out what's going on in your neighborhood to make it a better place for you to live. But I think that this program has really let me see how much St. Louis is amazing. It has some growth areas, but if we all work together, we can make those things happen to be a better region. So thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Why don't we go to Jennifer? Jennifer.
All right, and Kim, we have a lot in common. My graduate assistantship, I worked for TRIO, so at MSU. And I also am a almost two-time alum, because I went through Coro first, and that's what gave me the inspiration to continue on my journey with Focus. So my experience has actually been through the pandemic virtually pretty much the entire time I've been a part of Focus. I think we were able to meet in person twice, but in regards to anybody's concerns about what that looks like, those relationships will still form, because like Amy said in the beginning, they've got the platform to make you or put you into smaller groups so you can really have that sense of community and understand more about St. Louis people. So there's still that sense of connection. So don't be intimidated by the virtual setting. But for me, I mean, I met some of my closest friends that I have now through Coro. And it gave me the inspiration to write a book. And a lot of the women that I participated in Coro participated in that project. And as Yemi stated, she will tell you, you might come into this journey with a title or an organization, but you're going to grow along that way and you're going to transform. So I came into Coro as a business banker with Enterprise Bank and Trust. I was promoted to a senior vice president. I was an AVP, got promoted to an SVP. Then through this journey with the Leadership St. Louis program, I actually transferred completely into a different industry, different title. So now I'm actually working for Willis Towers Watson as the first producer they've hired in 7 years to really help transform benefits and health plans. Because what I was seeing, because of the conversations we're having with the leaders in the community, you really get a pulse on what's going on. And it's apparent that because of COVID, so many of our employees are experiencing burnout and mental health issues and concerns. So right now, my personality is being an advocate for the underdogs. So I need to stick up for those employees and make sure that they're getting the resources that the employers need to be paying for. So that's who I am. I can't tell, I only have great things to say about Focus. It's truly transformed who I am as a leader. I used to be very timid and I was intimidated at talking with all of these leaders in St. Louis. And I remember the first conversations we had were so impactful. While we're interviewing these leaders of St. Louis, I left in tears, and it was just so transformative for me to be able to talk with these higher up folks in our community and then learn that you're actually one of them and can make an impact in our world. I'm a St. Louis native. I grew up in Sunset Hills. I am first generation college student, so super passionate about our community, super passionate about making sure the workforce stays in our community and we can cultivate retention. So that's who I am. And if you guys have any questions, ping me on LinkedIn. I'll be honest. So thank you for inviting me to be here.
Thank you, Jennifer. And I have to say, Jennifer is very prolific on LinkedIn. I have a standing meeting about the women's group that she talked about, that I'm always curious as to who else is she talking to and bringing into the fold. And yeah, it's a bolt of lightning. I learn a lot. So thank you for keeping that going. I'm curious about what the next book is, but we'll get to that later. All right. Okay, Jason, welcome. You're on next.
Thanks for having me here today. I'm a two-time, I've been through 2 focus programs. So I was in the Emerging Leaders, and I also completed, you gave me credit for being the best class, best focus, most class ever. I was actually in U3. So my experience was fully virtual. So U3 was for Unmuted, Unprecedented, Unstoppable. So we were 2020. So when our class met, when everything, whether it was COVID had just started, we're still kind of figuring that out, to, the whole situation with George Floyd and other issues were happening around that time, to the election cycle was going on. So we were in the thick of all those things, and also figuring out how to navigate, I think, the first focus class completely virtual during that time. So, I knew from my Emerging Leaders experience, it was going to be a little bit different, or a lot different from being in person. But I still feel that I was able to get a lot of content, relationships from that time period as well. I almost think sometimes in that time period, we were able to get people who maybe not had a time to be in a room or be in person, were able to join us virtually. We got a little bit more out of that experience that way too. So I feel like, with being a part of that, talking to those people during that time, because I think a lot of us can attest, besides leadership, of just that time period being almost therapeutic, to talk to other leaders in the community, share those conversations, not only during focus time, but also during times we would set up meetings for our class outside of, to continue conversations that we felt like, hey, we ran out of time on Friday. Can we get back to this conversation on Wednesday? Let's set up a Zoom meeting. We have been able to have in-person gatherings afterwards together that we set up. So we're still connecting, still sending joint emails to each other. But I guess my big takeaway from the leadership standpoint of focus is, I think most of us get comfortable, and I almost want to say our leadership bubble. For me, I'm with Mind's Eye. We're an agency that works with blind and visually impaired people in the region, making things more accessible. So I feel pretty strongly with my leadership of being able to advocate for that, for that group. But there's other things in the community that, you know, extend past that. So getting to know about your government, getting to know about urban development, getting to know about different things also gave me a voice in that as well. Also, I feel like a lead by example. I'm more reserved most of the time when it comes to standing up and speaking out, but I feel like I still have leadership, but it expanded my leadership of I know those times when I'm supposed to, you know, step up and be a little bit louder, would be a little more vocal. So it also expanded my leadership qualities that way as well. And I'm very thankful for the time that I did have with Focus or the Leadership St. Louis class. And hopefully you guys get the same out of that experience as well.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Kim. And thank you, Jennifer. Clarifying some questions that people have. The interview date is Saturday, April 23rd. We are planning for that to happen either virtually or on the phone, because that just seems to work best for everyone right now. But if you have any specific questions regarding the program, certainly you can reach out to myself through email at yemia@focus-stl. I'm actually in the office today. I come into the office frequently. We're starting to ramp up for starting to meet in person. You can also call me directly on the number here, and our number is listed on our website. You could also reach out to Kate on the team. Her email address is cateh@focus-stl.org. We're more than happy to answer any and all questions that you have. So someone just asked a question. So our scholarships are actually based on financial need as well. And you'll notice that we denoted, you know, some are for individuals of color and what have you, but it's also based on financial need. Does that help? All right. Well, we are at 12:43. I look forward to receiving your applications. If as you're completing it, you have any questions, just go ahead and reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to respond to them. Thanks again to our panelists. And Kate, you and I can hang on and you can keep on jamming since you have the best mix ever today on a Friday. So have a great rest of the weekend, folks. Look forward to meeting you in person. Take care and thank you. Bye, Jason.